Vino Paul was reluctant to follow his family from Michigan to North Carolina, but when he eventually did, he quickly realized there was nowhere else he'd rather be. Within a year of moving, Vino met and married his wife and began a career in manufacturing that now has him certified in mechatronics and working as a lead technician for a German chassis components manufacturer. When he's not working, he's spending time raising his 3 kids, growing his local Romanian-American roots, and riding a Harley that he named Blueberry. Listen in as Vino Paul shares his Catawba County story on this month's edition of Making Living Better.
At least once a month, we meet a new featured Catawban talking about making living better. We work with Catawba County and meet some interesting folks in our area who are making living better. This morning, Vino Paul joins us. He's a maintenance technician, electrician, Harley rider, and a dad.
There you go.
He is a maintenance technician with, is it called ZF?
ZF,
and resides right here in Hickory with his lovely wife and 3 children. Nice to see you this morning.
Nice
sir.
seeing you.
You're originally from Romania.
Tell
me a little bit about that. So that's Europe and
that is
go ahead.
It's close, borders the Black Sea, Eastern Europe. Grew up, well, I shouldn't say grew up, I was there. Got me nervous. Got my heart's pumping.
Sorry, man.
It's got to slow down.
All right, there you go. So you were born, it's on the Black Sea,
right.
But you were only 2 years old when you moved to the States.
2 years old,
and then
correct.
You moved, you settled in the Michigan area.
Resided in Michigan.
Right.
And in that process, and it's funny because we just talked about it over Thanksgiving we had the family over. And my dad actually left when my mom was pregnant with me, and my 4-year-old sister, and he told my mom, hey, I have an opportunity to make it. Back then, that was the dream was to make it out of Romania, get to the States,
Right.
So he had an opportunity to do that, and the first time I seen my dad, I was 2 years old. So I mean, you can imagine, a 2-year-old just trying to get adjusted and trying to get comfortable with his dad. So, shout out to my dad for doing that because it took a lot of courage to do that.
Yeah.
So
he went first. He came over to the United States
first,
and then brought everybody.
And then brought us over about 2 years later.
Do you know about the history of Romania at that time? Was it a tough time?
It was communist country, and he got out right before Ceausescu at that time. I don't know if you're familiar with any of the Romanian history. Revoluția Română, the Romanian Revolution.
Right.
It was in the late 80s. Well, he proposed like an austerity policy where
right.
he really put a limit on everything.
Right.
And during that time, it was a lot of heartache, a lot of hardship. So
right.
we were fortunate enough to make it before all that.
Right.
So through that process, the people rebelled, and he was actually executed.
Oh,
so,
wow.
Yes.
But you made it out before all that.
We made it out before
because
that.
Your mom and dad knew people, I guess, back there, and maybe had family back there. You had a sense of that history.
We did. Yeah, we did. And slowly through that process, after we got established, my dad would help and bring, like, my mom comes from, big family, 12
right.
kids. So through that process, we were bringing, uncles and aunts over.
Oh, really?
They would get kind of adjusted at our place, established, and then we would help them, and then they would get, So a lot of them resided actually back in Chicago. So I have family in Chicago. We're kind of scattered all over the place.
But so as they came over, you got to meet a lot of the family. So
yes.
they maybe actually would stay in your home.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Well, that's got to give you a great sense of family. That you get to know aunts, you get to know uncles.
Yes.
12 relatives coming from mama's side.
I know, right?
So they move in. And so you get them used to it, then you send them off to Chicago, right?
Right, exactly.
They come into Michigan, you say, good, you're all settled. We got you.
It's been real. It's been fun. Go ahead,
We got you a job in Chicago. Something nice over there.
Exactly.
But that had to be a great sense of history, learning that much about the families, because I'm sure they all had stories.
Oh, yeah.
And they all had. So that
and they still, to this day, I mean, when we get together and, they like to reminisce about that process because, I mean, it was pretty extraordinary. So
I think so as well. So you grew up just outside of Detroit, right?
Outside Detroit, the burbs, Dearborn, and then...
so you're a sports fan? You're a Tigers fan?
I was. I'm not. Yeah. Since the kids came, I just sports goes out the window.
Yeah.
We tried, but
like a little hockey. Did you enjoy hockey?
We
when
did.
You were growing up?
Hockey town. Yeah, the Red Wings. Yeah.
Right. So that was kind of some of the things that I guess that you enjoyed because you were like a city guy, right?
I was a city boy. Like if you would tell me, and I was just talking to Amy. If you would tell me, 16 years ago, this is where you're going to be. This is what you're going to be doing. I would laugh. I would say, lay off the eggnog a little bit. So
Right. Because when your family said, we're going to meet, we're moving down to Hickory, we're moving down to Catawba County, you're like, no, I'm a city guy. I like the hockey, I like the field, I like the people, I like Detroit. I don't want to move to the country.
My parents actually came to visit here,
right.
And my aunt was living here, and they just fell in love with it.
Right.
I mean, what's not to fall in love with? It's beautiful down here. So they made the move in mid-'90s. I was still finishing up school, and they're like, please come. And I said, no, I want to stay here. I'm a city boy. I just can't do it.
Right.
And then, the Lord brought me this way. It's funny, I read a thing. It says, if you want to make the Lord laugh, tell him your plans.
Right,
you know what I mean? So here I am, Now
tell me a little bit about, I want to find out, because I've seen the pre-interview here, and you're obviously a person of strong faith.
Yes.
Tell me about the Romanian the connection there with religion, being a communist country. And then
right.
Was it also maybe an expression of freedom of religion that when you came here you were able to do that? Or I know there's is there a Romanian church? Help me with that. Or is it a Baptist church?
We worship at a Pentecostal church, First Romanian Pentecostal Church at Hickory.
And there's a great Romanian population there.
There is. You'd be surprised how many Romanians down here actually live. When I was living in Michigan, of course, parents were out of the picture. They're down here. I started kind of drifting away from the church.
Sure.
And started doing things on my own. And, I tell people, if you really want to know my life, just read out of Luke 15, the prodigal son. That's
gotcha.
me.
Okay.
That's me.
I understand.
So,
so you returned after years of ruinous living.
Returned right after years. My parents were,
and came back
graceful enough to say, "Hey, the door's open.
Good.
Come on in. Come on, you can hit the reset button." I did, and the moment I did that and started really seeking my faith, that's when these doors just continue to open up for me.
I think it's a fantastic story.
It's funny. I moved down here, and then 6 months later, I get married.
6 months later, you got married.
6 months later, I got married.
When I was reading this, I thought this was very cool. You did something that I would never do, because I'm just not that kind of guy.
Yeah.
But I admire it. Is that when you started communicating with your wife,
yes.
Your future wife, you decided that, and it was by phone, right?
By phone, yes.
And you talked on the phone, and you
talked to the phone.
You had a great admiration for each other.
We did.
But you weren't going to share any pictures of each other.
No pictures. I mean, it was just a thing where, when we see each other, we're going to see each other the first time in person, and then we're going to know, right? But, I was already in love with her, shortly after we started talking, because the first time we talked like 3 hours. And back then, you remember how it was back then. You didn't have free nights and weekends on the phone, so after 8 is unlimited, right? Unlimited minutes. Remember those?
Right, yeah.
So, and I was, where my parents lived, right, it just got bad reception. So I would lay on the side of my bed with one foot hanging off the bed, and my phone just turned correctly to be able to gain, to get the right reception. But we talked the first time when we talked for hours, and then it was daily.
And so she was introduced to you by another Romanian?
By my aunt, the matchmaker.
Right.
Shout out to Jenna. My wife's name is Simona. Honey, I love you. Thank you. But we were introduced by her. She was best friends with her older sister in Romania, right? And when I moved here, of course, the matchmaker, here, Vino, here's a number. I said, please put that number away. I want nothing to do with it. I just got here, got out of a bad relationship. I want to just kind of restart and just start from scratch. And that number sat in my wallet for a while. And then one day the Lord was like, call it. I said, okay, I'm going to call it. If I gain a friend, I gain a friend.
Nice.
And that's how that worked out.
So, but when you first...
this is a funny story, right? When we first met, right? She said, how are we going to meet? I said, I think you're going to come down and see me first. Yeah, right. Okay, for Easter.
Right.
She's like, I don't think that's going to happen. Well, it did happen that way. So she came down for Easter. And you keep in mind, it was my wife, right, her older sister, her 3 nieces, and her younger sister, Connie. So I have these women. They came to my aunt's house. I didn't know what she looked like,
Right.
Had no idea. So when I walked in
was
the
it
door.
6 or something like that?
Yeah,
right?
yeah. When I walked in, they were all sitting on the couch, and I just walked into the door, and I'm like, okay, Simona, please stand up.
Right. So you did need a little help there.
Yes, I did.
You had all those. You could have had them. But that's nice. That's a nice story.
It is. It's very memorable.
So then you finally saw your wife.
I saw.
Did you know right away?
I knew right away. I'm like, this is the one I'm going to marry. Yeah.
That's great.
So, yeah, it's like, when you're in your... We're 20, 26. When you're at a certain age, it's like, no more games. It's like, what do you think? Yes, okay, let's go ahead.
I think that's fantastic.
Yeah.
And she had the family history too.
She does.
And you,
10 in her family. Yeah.
Wow, big family.
Big family.
So when you come over from Romania and people are moving over, families are moving over.
Yes.
I guess you kind of get to know some of the heritage,
You do,
some of the lineage.
yeah.
And, it's like here in our you were one of the Smiths, or you're one of the
Yes.
Joneses, or whatever. So you kind of get to know them and have that.
Her dad was extremely popular in Romania. Everybody knew him. He used to go evangelize with his accordion on the corners, and he would just bring a lot of people to Christ through that. So if you talk to anybody that's kind of in the church community that's Romanian, you say Mihai Sverla, they're like, oh yeah, we know him.
Oh, really?
Yeah, people would record him and just he was very well known. So
you had the church background growing up. She had the church background. So y'all had a lot in common.
We did
automatically.
Right.
Tell you what, we got to go to a break.
Okay.
We come back. Very interesting. When we come back, I want to find out a little bit about your job.
All right.
Because I found that to be very interesting as well. But we're glad you're here after all it took to get you here, and then everything kind of straightened out for you.
Hi, I'm Anna Price. I'm a hotel manager at JC and the only downtown loft dweller in Conover. Coming from rural Pennsylvania, I love that our community is big enough to have everything you need and still feel like home. If you're passionate about something, you'll find it here, and if you can't, you can create it for yourself. I used to be homesick for Pennsylvania, and now I get homesick for Conover. Catawba County just keeps making living better. To learn more about my Catawba County, visit makinglivingbetter.com.
Our featured Catawban today is Vino Paul. Originally from Romania. He is living in the United States. Came over here in 2003. Moved from the Detroit area right down here. He's married. He's got wonderful children. But I want to find out a little bit about your job, because I think this is very cool part of you. You're a lead technician. And that's with ZF.
Right.
And it used to be, I can't remember the name of it. It was another company before that we are all familiar with. We called it here ZF.
Limforder,
right.
Yes.
And now it's just ZF.
Just ZF.
But now, what do you all, I think is it car chassis?
It is, yeah. We're the chassis division. So, yeah, we make chassis components, control arms, things of that nature. So, yeah, we're automotive distribution.
Okay.
So, it comes raw material, and then, it goes out.
A chassis?
Well, not on the chassis. It just goes fully.
The chassis is built right here.
No, not in our. No, we do control arms. So
for the control arm part of the chassis.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay. So does that take a lot of machining? Do you
it
all
does.
Do that?
Yeah, we have.
Tell me about it.
We have everything. We have CNC machinery. We have robotics. We have assembly lines. So yeah, it's pretty busy. Pretty busy over there.
Now, what do you do? What is a lead technician?
Lead technician is. Well,
I know it's hard to explain.
It's hard to explain, but you need one person on the shift that can kind of communicate with things happening. Maybe when things get a little bit deeper. If a breakdown happens, and let's say we have to call in the outside contractor to come in, a specialist, I would be his contact. Or if we have to contact them through emails, I would be that contact. But we also do. I meet with my boss, and we discuss and we talk about what's been going on.
These are generally you're working with robotics. You're working with machines. So if something goes wrong with the machine, slows up everything, stops everything, you've got to be able to either take that machine offline,
right,
and you have to get it back on, and that's what you do.
Right. Yeah. We keep
with whomever you have to talk to or whatever it needs to be done.
Yeah.
So you have to kind of think on your feet. You maybe don't know what's gone wrong with the machine.
Yep.
And you have to be able to either work with the outside vendor or come up with something creative internally.
You nailed it.
Now, tell me how you went about getting this training.
This training, we do a lot of in-house training, and they do offer training outside, but they offered a class that I took, a mechatronics class. It was just kind of introduction to that. When I came in, it's just funny because when I came into ZF, I came in as an outside contractor because, I was an industrial electrician for many years. That's my background. So I came in as electrical support. Through another company, and we just, I loved being there. I was traveling a lot with my electrical company, so it was like we've been praying, Lord, we need a door open somewhere where I can call home, and that opportunity, showed itself, and a couple years later, they enjoyed the way I worked, and they offered me a position.
So you've got the electrical part of it.
Right.
There's other people though who have different parts of this. When you're taking a look at a robot and robotics, everybody kind of comes together as a team.
Exactly.
And you take a look at what it's going to need to solve this problem.
Exactly.
But How long have you been working as an electrician?
Gosh, I've been an electrician since late teens. Yeah,
really?
Yeah, since early 20s. So I pursued that in Michigan. I worked for the union.
Did you start off bending pipe?
I do it. I did it all.
Right, bending pipe, fish tape, pull the wire, right?
Running wire, pulling wire, distribution.
And then you move
panels.
on from there.
Right. So, and then I kind of fell in love with industrial, doing industrial work, because it's just a little bit more, you know how it is. It's nice to walk into a plant and then they say, okay, we need this line moved from so and so to another state. At times we've done that.
Right.
So we completely break it down electrical. And we go ahead and, we move it to another state or move it to another plant, wherever they need us to.
Tell me about what do you do for fun and having fun here in Catawba County, because you're a dad.
I'm a dad.
And it sounds to me like your kids are keeping you real active. Whether you want to be active or not, it sounds to me like you're a pretty active guy.
When you got an 8, 10, and 12-year-old, you're active. You're active a little bit too much. So we try, right now it's like, the Lord takes you through seasons of life. And right now, this season right now is to really invest in our kids. Try to anyways.
Good for you. That's great to hear.
Yeah, so that's a big part of our lives is being involved in them, and they're active. Basketball, soccer. Our oldest, she plays piano, and she's been playing piano since she was 4. She's 12 now, so she has she really pursues that, and keep your radios open, because I'm sure she'll be on the radio sometime.
Did I read in there that somebody was a BMX bike, and is that right, or some kind of bike, some kind of biking that you were involved with them, or did I get that wrong?
No, I got my son into riding dirt bikes last year.
Right.
So that's being a Harley rider.
Okay.
Yeah, he was like.
Oh, actual dirt bikes.
Dirt bikes. Yeah.
Not a BMX. You got the motor.
We got the motors. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. You hit the throttle and you go. So.
Wow. So how old is he?
He's 8. So
8 years old riding dirt bikes. See,
dirt bikes.
When I read bikes in here, and I saw, I didn't think of. I thought like BMX bikes. But you're on dirt bikes.
We're on dirt bikes. Yeah.
So you're out there hitting the hills.
We're hitting it. Yeah, we do.
At your cousin's place across the street?
Right across the road from us. There's close to 10 acres, and my cousin owns it. So yeah, we tear it up. We tear up that area.
So you're out there jumping. We
do. We have little ramps that we jump, and he jumps, and it's he's God bless. The sad thing is we've the last time we rode, we went in some areas where we shouldn't rode, and we didn't know at that time, but when we wanted to ride again, we went to get on our bikes, and like, oh, our rear tires are flat, both of ours. So I gotta replace those, and the poor guy, he's like, Dad, when you gonna change my tire? I'm like, it's coming, I promise.
You gotta get on that, right? That's one of those things that you gotta do.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that's a lot. Well, like I said, you were looking at me like, what? And I was like, oh, okay.
We do ride BMX bikes too,
Right, but I didn't think about an 8-year-old on hitting it.
And he's good. So
that's great.
Yeah, he loves it.
So you're loving being a dad.
I love being a dad.
And you're loving the area.
The area, it's nothing like that.
You had a chance. You were in Detroit. You could have stayed up there. Like you said, you were a city guy. You're making good money. Everything's going good. What's the reason that you stay? What's the reason that you stay in Catawba County? What is it that keeps you?
It's just home. It's just home. I just couldn't see myself really living anywhere else, especially the school district that we're in right now. Mountain View Elementary. My wife's got she subs there. She's got a good relationship there. Shout out to Simone. I love you. So it's just home. Like, we just couldn't see ourselves really, unless, I shouldn't say that, unless the Lord says, hey, we need you to move here or here, like I mentioned before, life is like a bowl of spaghettis. You try to follow that noodle and you're going to get lost.
So you're plugged in. You have a lot of the folks who mean a lot to you, your family.
Right.
You've got your church.
Got my church.
You got the kids. You're loving what's happening with the kids, that you're able to go out across the street, ride the motorcycle if you want to.
Priceless.
And a wonderful education opportunity for them.
Yes.
So like you said, why else would you go anywhere else?
Yeah, why else?
People know your mom. Everybody knows your mom. You want to say hi to your mom?
Mama, I love you. Vicky Paul. She's retiring, so sorry if you missed out, but she cuts gray hair.
Where's she work at?
She works at Great Clips.
Right.
Yeah.
Everybody knows your mom. And
everybody knows Vicky. Yeah, Michelle Paul. Yeah, everybody knows Michelle. So yeah. She's still there, so go check out Michelle.
There you go. Now we'll just send them a little bill for the advertisement for that.
There you go. Exactly.
Hey, Vino Paul, very nice meeting you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for coming in this morning. Appreciate it.
The Making Living Better podcast is produced monthly in partnership with WHKY, Catawba County's source for first-person storytelling. Find us on makinglivingbetter.com, on Podbean, or wherever you download your podcasts.